Should you hire a virtual team member or a virtual team, which is people who work out of their house instead of in the office, even if it's part-time out of their house and part-time in the office, or full-time out of their house and never in the office? Is that a benefit to you? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And for those of you who have known me for any length of time or have followed the Build to Grow show at all, you know that I have a portfolio of companies. Many of those companies are internet-based companies, and some of those companies are brick and mortar companies. So we have both, and I'm in both worlds. I got my start in brick and mortar businesses, and I built those and I sold those, and then I went online, and now I have a hybrid of both online and offline businesses in my portfolio. And many of those businesses are a hybrid in and of themselves, where we utilize the best of the online world and the best of the offline world to grow an entity. And in those businesses, we have both folks who actually show up to the office and are in our team meetings and are a part of our every day-to-day culture. And then we have others who are part-time in their house and part-time in the office, and some of them who work exclusively out of their house. And there's a benefit to all of that. There's a benefit to them. There's a benefit to the company as well. But there's 6 different rules that we follow when we're working with a virtual team member. And I highly suggest that if you're thinking about doing this at all, then you follow these 6 rules, because they have been a game changer for us in every entity that I've implemented this in. The very first rule is that we have an organizational chart. So no matter what, even if we are working with exclusively people who are out of the office, we have an org chart for our business. And that's a great tool. And by the way, it's not a regular org chart that you might Google and say, oh, look at, there's an org chart, let's just duplicate that. It's called a process org chart. And a process org chart is slightly different than a regular organizational chart. But when you do it right, it clearly shows you who your next best hire is. And it helps you to determine whether or not they need to be in the office or out of the office. And it's simply this. We do an organizational chart, very typical organizational chart, where the CEO might be at the top, and then there might be a COO, or there might be an assistant, or whatever it is, whatever your process looks like. But every single department inside your company that is necessary to be there, not for where you are now, not for the stage of growth that you're going to be in 10 years, but for where you're going to be in 8 to 12 months from today. So we build an organizational chart with the right blocks on it for where your company will be 8 to 12 months from now. Who are you going to need in there? What departments are you going to need in there? What processes are you going to need in there to grow to the next level? And then once we have those boxes put in there, maybe you need a digital marketing department in order to grow to the next level. Maybe you need a Facebook manager to grow to the next level. Maybe you need an HR person to grow to the next level. Maybe you need a COO to grow to the next level. Whatever it is, your organizational chart is built. And once it's built, once all of those blocks are in place, then you go in there and you put the top 5, 8, 10, 12 bullet points into each box that define the actions that that person or that department needs to take, needs to accomplish in order to help the company to grow to the next level. So that every process, every action is actually listed on your entire org chart, and you know exactly what needs to do. So if you fulfill every action on your organizational chart, if you have somebody to actually run every process inside that new organizational chart, then you know beyond a shadow of doubt that you will meet or exceed your targets to get to the next level in 8 to 12 months. Now, you don't necessarily need names in there right now, because to be quite honest, the great majority of you at this point may have your name in multiple boxes. If you're a real small business, maybe you have your name in every single box. Maybe you do every task inside your company. And hopefully we can grow to the next level and get you out of many of those boxes. Because what we'll do is we will look at this process org chart and we will say, well, if we were to take your name off of this one box over here, that would free up enough of your time to be able to be more effective and drive the company even further, even if this person in this box doesn't do the job 100% as good as you can do. Because definitely, once your name is out of that box and you're able to really focus on the bigger things, we can get you to scale a lot faster. So first we do a process org chart, and then we see, okay, well, maybe there is a Facebook manager that we need to put in place in order to get you to the next level. And maybe you know of a person who could be a great Facebook manager, but they don't want to actually commute to the office every single day. Or maybe you don't have an office that you want them to be in every single day. So they may be a virtual worker. So then we have to move on to the next the next thing in our list of 6 rules if you're going to have a virtual team member on board or a virtual team completely. The second rule is that we have regular meetings with that person, but every single one of those meetings needs to be a video conference meeting. We don't have any meetings in our organization which are phone-based meetings or email-based meetings or Basecamp or Slack or any of the other tools out there that the team may use to stay productive and to stay effective at what they're doing and to communicate with each other. When we have team meetings inside the organization where I'm part of or where the department head is part of, those meetings are always video-based meetings. And I want everybody's video flipped on so that if I'm having a meeting with them, if they're part of the leadership team and I'm having a meeting with them, I could actually see what they're doing and they could see me and they could see the passion that I'm giving to them and they could see the focus that I'm giving to them and I need to see the focus that they're giving to me. Every single person on the team is part of a video team meeting on a regular basis. Now, depending on how quickly your company is growing, your meetings may be daily or weekly or monthly or quarterly or annual or a combination of all of them. The great majority of my companies have daily, weekly, quarterly, annual meetings. Right? It's very important for us because that's how we are able to grow our companies. But if you're growing slower, or if you have a team that is very used to working on their own, maybe you don't have daily meetings. Maybe you just have weekly meetings. Maybe you just have bi-weekly meetings. It really is all going to depend on what you need in order to get to the next level. The third thing, so first we have the process org chart, then we have video meetings. The third thing is we need one-on-one calls with somebody. And those calls, those one-on-one calls could be face-to-face, they could be on the phone, or they could be video. And those are going to be when it's needed. When I, as the CEO, or when the department head believes that they need a meeting with somebody, just to keep them up to date. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to look at that org chart, and that org chart is going to define the exact actions, the exact processes that need to happen in each one of those boxes. And let's say that Bob is in this box over here, and Bob is running this. And we could go back to our original example of a Facebook manager. He may be running this, and there may be all these different processes that he needs to run in order to do that. Now, every once in a while, we are going to have meetings with him. And those meetings are going to be one-on-one. And we're going to say, hey, Bob, here's the things that you rock at. Here's the things that you're doing wonderful at. But you know what? Here's a few things that you're missing. And you were doing them great before. Now you're not even doing them. And in order for our company to go to the next level, we need somebody in this box who's going to be fulfilling all of these things. Now, you may be doing a lot of other stuff out here that's not in the box. And that may be busy work that you believe is really being valuable to the company. However, it's not what we need, what we defined as an absolute need in order to get to the next level. So there's things that are missing here, and we need you to be doing those. So our face-to-face meetings is when we bring those things up to light. The things that they're doing great and the things that maybe they're falling short on. That's the third thing, the face-to-face meetings. The fourth thing is daily or weekly written updates. And those written updates are going to be defining again exactly what they're doing great and exactly what they might be missing. And we're going to be also asking them prior to us submitting a written update to them or them submitting a written update to us. They're going to submit, first of all, it's two-sided. They'll be submitting written updates to us saying, these are the things that we did. These are the things that we accomplished. Again, most of those are going to be taken from your process org chart or subsidiary tasks that make it possible for them to get those things done on their process org chart. And they'll be saying, these are the things that we've accomplished today or this week or whatever the case is. They're also going to say, hey, here's a rock that is in my path that I'm going to need a little bit of help pushing forward and getting out of here or having a breakthrough on. Could you help me with that? Or who on the team can help me with that? That's going to be integral for us to keep them moving forward. But we may also supply them with a quick weekly or daily email or written update on their performance. And that's going to be just keeping them in line, saying, hey, you're doing great on this. Thank you very much. Or thank you for submitting that report. And here's a few notes on how you might be able to move that rock out of your path. Or here's a few notes on what might help you. Or here's somebody else on the team that you might want to connect with to move forward a little bit faster, right? So that's number 4, our daily or weekly written updates. Number 5 is quarterly evaluations. Now, quarterly evaluations are super important because every single quarter, everybody needs to be kept on task. So what we do in our organization is we set high and low goals for the year, and we never set a single target. If our target is, let's just say $25 million this year in one of our organizations, then that, or maybe it's $10 million or $1 million or $100 million or whatever your goal is, whatever that top level goal is for your organization for that particular year, we would never set just one target. Maybe that target is a revenue target like we we're just talking about. Maybe it's a reach target. Reach target meaning we're going to reach 10,000 people or 100,000 people or 1 million people or 10 million people this year. Whatever the number is, whatever that target is, we set a high and a low goal. We set, if it's to reach 10 million people, well, maybe our high goal is to reach 12 million people and our low goal is to reach 9.5 million people. Whatever the case is, so that there's always this buffer, one or two. And then we reverse engineer that. And we say, well, okay, every year, if that's what we have to hit, then every quarter, we're going to break that up into quarters and make sure that everybody's task on that process org chart is accurate to get us to the next level. Because in the beginning, when you're first making that process org chart, you're guessing for the most part. No matter what level of growth you're at, no matter what revenue you're at, no matter what you've accomplished so far in companies, even if you've bought and sold multiple large companies, it doesn't make a difference. We're still guessing. We're still projecting out what we need in order to get to the next level. So every quarter, we're reevaluating that. And we're having meetings with our team because the people who are going to be able to tell you if you're on target or not best are those people on your team, right? You're going to see it in the numbers. You're going to see it in all the metrics that you're measuring. But when you actually need to know the solution, say, oh, this is broke. We keep missing this one metric. The team, the people who are in the trenches, are the ones who are going to help you brainstorm and actually figure out what's the solution to get past that, so that we could course correct and make sure that we meet or exceed our target before the end of the year, right? So every quarter we're going to do that. Now the sixth and last thing that is going to be very, very important if you have a virtual team is going to be face-to-face meetings, at least annually. Every single year we have an annual meeting. And our annual meeting is a time where we bring everybody in. Now, we bring everybody in. So if our office is in New York City and they live in Colorado, then we fly them in. If they are in Florida, we fly them in. If they are in Canada, we fly them in. If they are in New Zealand, we fly them in. So no matter where our team is, every year, part of our budget is to have a face-to-face annual meeting. And I promise you beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you have a virtual team and they don't meet at least annually, then they're not going to be part of your culture. And when they're part of your culture and they understand your values and they live by your values and they see everybody else living by your values, then they're going to buy into your crusade. And when people buy into your crusade, they're going to become very creative in how they help drive the company forward. If you want more like this, then go to my website, Chris Guerriero. There's going to be a link at the bottom of this video. It's chrisguerriero.com. where we have a lot of information on how to grow teams, whether they're virtual teams or on-site teams. But more importantly, what I want you to do is I want you to take the Built to Grow review, because the Built to Grow review on the website is going to help you determine what is missing in your business and what you need to do in your business in order to get it to scale to the next level, whether that's breaking the $1 million mark, the $10 million mark, the $50 million mark, the $100 million mark, whatever it is. This will tell you where you're at and what you need to do in order to fix it.